Somebody over here? You. Well, while you're here, why don't you stick around and we'll show you how you can make something like this from, I don't have a blank close, but you'll see it in the next scene. Let's go do it. Well, I'm thinking about it. So, did you guys know that you can support me for not spending a cent by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing my videos? Doesn't cost you a cent. Helps the algorithm see me a whole lot more, and it's totally free for you. It just takes 3 clicks. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks. Bye. All right, folks. So while I get this set up and ready to rock and roll, we're going to be doing some resin eggs. I promised to store these a while ago and just haven't been able to get to them yet. So a couple of the blanks we've got ready. I've got an angel. Ooh, my foot just cramped. Some painted Malay burl. Those always turn out really cool. And some Easter basket grass. Sorry, I'm stretching my foot out. Wow, that hurt. So I'm going to be running these to a local store, as well as I might keep a few on hand to offer at various places I go to. Which right now I don't have any idea where I'm going to be this year. I've only got one show locked down, and it's just been it's not been a fun year for me so far. But hey, could be worse. There. That looks good. Dropping the tailstock off. All right, that's locked down. So this week we're going to be covering the basics of resin turning. I apologize if this makes any weird noise, but I'm losing the hat in this sweatshirt because it's a little warm out. So while I do all that, enjoy the belly. Resin can be a bit of a nightmare, or one of the best things. I don't know if that cut out or not, but resin can be one of the easiest things to turn, and it can be a nightmare. It all depends on if you cast it right, if you have the right type, and all of that. Don't mind the click. This microphone hangs off on a magnet. So with that said, the trick with it, you want the sharpest tools you can have. Slow, light, delicate passes are the best. We're going to move this tool rest right here. And I'll show you as we go some of the stuff I'm looking for on this. I just want to make sure we're nice and centered. All right. So here we go. I can already tell you this isn't quite. I'm going to turn the speed down a little bit. But when I'm trying to just get this roughed out, which is why I'm using a roughing gouge, I want these shiny spots to go away. You can kind of see it in the lathe if you look at the light just right. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. But from this point, what I want to do is get the rough shape of the egg before I get the other tools and start cutting stuff off. That's going to be trash anyway. So I'm trying to not let too much of this hit the floor because I literally just finished sweeping. I don't know why I didn't do this first, but whatever. But you can see how I'm starting to break the egg and how I came off here a little bit. So I'm going to start here and just keep trying to get that egg shape going. Now this lip here is getting a little too tall, so I'm going to try to take it down in half. That didn't work very well, but it's a perfect example of when resin can be a nightmare. Here it's not as bad because it's not at a critical stage. I want to make sure you guys can actually see just how chewed up that is. Oh yeah, that comes out. There's nothing worse than when you get it close and you do that, because then you got to take it down even smaller before you can do anything with it. So what this means is I think I'm about done with the roughing gouge. It would be really nice to keep going with it because it will give me the fastest cuts, but I just don't think it's going to be the smartest tool to stay with. We're going to need that one later. It feels like it still has a burr. We're going to find out. Now we're just going to come in here and just keep following what I started to try to get that egg shape going. And again, this is where it starts to get kind of rough, because as that builds up, it gets even harder to see. Sorry, I keep leaning over here, but I want to make sure this thing doesn't quit recording. Once in a while, it will. All right. So what I'm going to try to do here, now that I've got this kind of roughly shaped up, yes, I got a lot more to do on this side, but what we're going to try to do is on this black line, that's where I want the fattest point to be. Actually, let's bring it down a little bit. We'll do that. All right. This line at the bottom here is where I'm going to try to get the base at. I'm probably going to have more wood than resin, but from doing these in the past, if I can keep the base down into the resin, it gives me a lot more solid of a grip down here while I'm doing everything I need to do. Because if I get to just wood, it's too likely to split, crack, and throw. I've had that happen one too many times. So but I gotta check one thing. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm losing my mind. Hope that was going the correct direction. All right, so with this, I want the fattest point to be at that bottom line. So what I'm just gonna do is start taking passes until I have a nice pretty egg shape on the top. That's getting a little dull. Hopefully I got a few more in here that should be still be sharp. The joys of using a long tool. That rattled my teeth. I gotta have something wider. Okay. So I'm going to pop this into a time lapse while we sand this down. I'm going to take a lot off the edges just to really get it looking a lot nicer. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to take a finisher over this on a few passes just to smooth it out a lot more. That'll cut down a lot on the sanding time. Then we're going to go to a time lapse. All right. I'm going to shape the bottom end up a little bit more, and then we're going to go to sanding. All right. So what I'm going to do during the time lapse, just so you guys know, we're going to sand this up. I'm going to apply some regular wood finish to this, which is the same stuff I use on the bowls and, well, pens. I no longer use that on bowls, mainly because it won't hold up to salad dressing in a bowl. So that's why I use different oils for that. But so this will just be a regular pen finish once that's done. And then we're also going to, actually, you know what? I'm just going to buff the whole thing to 12,000. Then I'll come back while we do all the finish and the different fun stuff. So see you guys after the time lapse. And we're back. So for these, I'm going to use Pens Plus for the wood, some Yorkshire Grit for the everything, and then one I haven't used in a while, which is Peta's True Grit. I feel like it might be a bit redundant to use the two different pastes, but you know what? I want these things to look good. And I also need a thing of beeswax that I thought I had right here. Should be one. And I got two right here next to the lathe. The joys of going through and cleaning stuff. The next thing that falls on my foot, I'm going to throw too. Then again, I probably shouldn't be wearing Crocs in the shop, but you know what? They're about the only thing that don't hurt my feet anymore, so I don't really care. All right. So in order to get this on here right, we're going to apply the Pens Plus only to the wood. If it gets on the resin, it's not the end of the world. There's one coat. I love the way this stuff. I love the way Malle Burl looks. I just wish it wasn't so hard to get here in the States. All right, there's 2 coats. I'm going to put 5 on here because I really want this worked into this wood as absolutely good as possible. I think that's 4. I lost count, so if I did one extra, you can make fun of me in the comments, but I'd rather have an extra coat than be short at one. All right. All right. Look at that. Now, in order to set this, I do need to speed it up and run it in there with friction. I just realized I have 2 earbuds in, so it's hard to tell how loud I'm actually talking. That's why I usually try to leave one out. But so for the rest of these, we're going to start with the Pita's True Grit. Right after I grab a quick drink. And because I am going to try to get most of these done later today, I might actually do an ASMR on doing these. Just because I know a lot of people like watching the resin go flying. All right. All right, we're going to turn the speed up a little bit for this. And this is just going to, I'm just using friction to work this in. I'll heat it up and it'll just do its magic. As you can see, I'm just moving this back and forth. I did put a lot on here too. I forgot how thick this stuff is. All right. We're going to use the rest of that later. I'm so tired of these political emails. All right. That should take care of that. It's almost clear, but that's where this should help. This is going to be our final polish. And this should, in theory, get us to where we need to be for crystal clear on here. And we're just going to hope that I am correct in that. And with Yorkshire grit, it's not as thick as that Pita's. They do make a wood finish as well, but I found the Pita's, so I prefer Yorkshire. But the white cans are microfine. The black ones are regular. Microfine is what you want for plastics and acrylics, especially for something like this where I want it to be 100% crystal clear. The grit in there is a lot finer. I forget what it does it say. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I forget what the equivalent grit, if this was sandpaper, is, but it's something crazy high. I want to say 26,000 or better, but I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that. No, we're just gonna work it in. Take your time when you're using this stuff. If you have extra, keep it on one part of the rag to keep it away from there. And you can reapply it in that super light coat, which is exactly what we want to do. All right. Now, while this is still somewhat warm from friction, it's actually rather hot. I want to get this beeswax on here. You can see how light it's going on. That means this thing is hot. This is just an added layer of protection. Gives it a little bit more of a sheen. Now we're just going to do the final friction finish. I don't like seeing that smoke coming off of here. Last time that happened, I burned a line into it. But I think we're good. All right, now I just got to cut it off. And the other reason I'm trying to keep this all in wood, I'm going to have to redo all that now. That was awesome. All right. This is the hardest part, in my opinion. Which is taking it all the way off. I don't currently have a handsaw, so I got to do it all one-handed. So we're just going to go for it. Perfect. If you do try that one-handed, just, make sure you're around most of that. Lightly touched if you need to, just to reference where it's at in your grip. I don't have any carving knives out here, so I'm just using a 1/2 inch skew. I keep this one fairly sharp because I don't use it on the lathe that often. But it's great for doing stuff like this. And then just because I do like to have everything I can sealed up, I just put a little dot of Pens Plus on the bottom. That way it stays sealed and finished just like everything else. That's a perfect bottom of an egg too. And yeah, so last thing I'm going to do is just a little more than that. I just want a real light spritz of just water with a clean paper towel. I'm just going to wipe everything off. The waxes and everything should stay on. I'm coming behind this so I can show you guys now. And there it is. I really like that. Memory serves right, I also have glow-in-the-dark paint on the top of that, so I think this might glow in the dark. I can't remember if I do on this one or not. But yeah, so if you ever wondered if you can do a wood resin hybrid, right there is how you do it. At least on the lathe part. If you guys want to see how I cast these, let me know in the comments, and I will gladly do some more resin casting. So there we go. Nice and pretty. I got a bunch more of these to do, so we're going to be doing an ASMR on them as well. But with that, I will say cat in the hat and dappy dat. See y'all later, folks.